Meat causes cancer and heart disease. No, wait, it's the anti-nutrients in the vegetables that are causing all of your GI problems. We seem to be more polarized than ever when it comes to food. And should you be eating carnivore or should you be eating vegan? Stay tuned. People are so confused when it comes to knowing what foods to eat. Between documentaries like What the Health that talk about the vegan diet and they compare eating eggs and they say that eating eggs is the same thing as smoking cigarettes. And then on the other side, you have physicians like Sean Baker who are talking about all of the benefits of eating carnivore where you literally only eat meat and don't eat a single vegetable. It's no wonder. Things are so confusing and you can find very reputable sources on either side. That being said, I think that we can cut through all of this confusion and come out the other side with a little bit more wisdom. So how do you know what you should actually be eating? Now, most people know that your diet has a very strong influence on your health. And most of this data is gathered through epidemiological studies, meaning that there are scientists that are going out and they are looking at different populations of people. And what they're doing is they're going to survey them and they are going to ask what types of foods they eat, and then they are going to follow these people and they are going to see what type of diseases they end up developing. And if you get a population of people and they say that they eat a certain food and then they have some type of specific disease associated with that, then you can somehow correlate those two things and you can say that that food might not be good for us. But it's something that is really important is that correlation does not equal causation. And what happened was, this is where we found out originally and where people started to become concerned about the dangers of eating red meat. So when they did these epidemiological studies, they showed that people that were eating a large amount of red meat and processed meat, they had higher risks of heart disease, higher risks of colon cancer, and things like that. And then on the other side, what they saw was that people that were reporting that they were eating a large amount of fruits and vegetables, they had much lower instances of heart disease, diabetes, and other types of chronic diseases. And so based off this information, you could say that eating meat is bad and eating vegetables is good for us. And a lot of this has been put out, there's been tons of information put out by people that are proponents of the vegan and vegetarian diets. One of the most popular of them is a book called The China Study, which was published in 2003, I believe. And in that book, they talk about how, the proteins from meats are going to be more likely to cause diseases like cancer than getting proteins from vegetarian sources. And a lot of this data was cherry-picked from these specific epidemiological studies. But what they don't account for is something called the healthy patient bias. So imagine if you are doing one of these surveys and you just look at the general population and you have a subset of people that are reporting that they are eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. Now, you could surmise that eating the fruits and vegetables leads to the lower risks of diseases. But what you're not taking into account is that these people that are eating lots of fruits and vegetables are much more likely to have other healthy behaviors. They're much more likely to exercise. They're much less likely to drink copious amounts of alcohol. They're much less likely to smoke cigarettes and all of these other things. So that is what the healthy patient bias is that when you are looking at these populations, people that have certain behaviors, they're more likely to have other of these healthy behaviors as well. So it can make reading these epidemiological studies very difficult. Now, back to the question at hand. What is the best diet? Should you be vegan? Should you be carnivore? Should you do keto? What type of diet should you actually be following? Now, it's important to point out that humans are omnivores, and so we are able to eat both meats and we are able to eat vegetables, and probably some combination of this is going to be optimal for most people. The other extremely important thing when you are talking about what is the best diet is that Humans have a very large amount of individual variability. We have variability between individuals. We also have huge amounts of population-based variability. So people that live in Eastern Asia have a lot different genetics than someone that's living in California or Florida versus someone that's living in South America or versus someone that lives up in the Arctic. All of these populations are going to have very different genetics, and so the best diet for them is going to vary. So you really want to figure out, it's not what is the best diet for everyone, it's what is the best diet for you. What you need to do is you want to figure out what diet can you consistently stick to that is going to allow you to maintain a healthy weight and not have all types of, bad reactions. So things like gas and bloating, things like brain fog, feeling tired all of the time. You want to find the diet that can not have all of those negative consequences, and you can be at a healthy weight for a long period of time. And generally, you want to find a diet that is not going to be overly restrictive, because that is going to put a lot of extra stress on our already extremely stressful lives. So, the problem that I have with many of these diets, whether it be vegan or carnivore or keto, is that one, it's not necessarily, a lot of the people that talk about these diets, they say that it's the best diet for everyone and that everyone should be on this keto diet or everyone should be vegan if the whole planet needs to be vegan. But these types of diets don't work for everyone. Like I said, there's a lot of individual variability when it comes to diet. So some people might do well on a vegan diet. There's even some athletes that it works for their training goals. They're able to hit their goals and they do very well eating a plant-based diet. But other people might not do very well. They might feel very tired, very fatigued. They might not, enjoy the foods that they're eating, so they could end up losing too much weight. Or if they do it wrong, it's very easy when you put yourself in these restrictive diets to develop some type of nutritional deficiencies. Specifically with vegan diets, you can become very deficient in things like B12 or essential amino acids because you have to adequately combine specific foods, which can become very difficult for the average person that doesn't really understand the intricacies of diet. And the same thing can be said for the ketogenic diet. If you start cutting out a bunch of vegetables, you can easily become deficient in certain micronutrients. And definitely the carnivore diet, where you're only eating meat, it just hasn't been around long enough, but I am quite confident that in the future, people that have been on this diet for extended periods of time are going to eventually develop some type of nutritional deficiency or have some type of increased risk of disease because it's just so extreme. Anytime something is really extreme, it's probably not correct. You want to have a balanced diet, eating whole foods that you can, again, be consistent with, that you can maintain that healthy weight over the long term. What's important is that you keep your healthy weight and you maintain that over the years, not just gaining a bunch of weight, getting overweight, and then losing a bunch of weight, maintaining that for a couple of months, and then gaining all of that weight back, and then losing a bunch of weight. That is not how you end up decreasing your disease risk. You want to remain at that healthy weight for the long term. So I hope that this has been helpful. If you guys have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear it. So just leave them down in the comments below. Again, this is Floyd Meyer reminding you to eat better so that you can do more.